Good evening and welcome to the show. Tonight is Good evening and welcome to the show. Tonight is very serious. It's an ominous night. Welcome to Voices from the Edge. Time now is 7:30 Eastern Standard Time, 4:30 Pacific Standard Time. And here's the latest. At 2:35 p.m., 14-page indictment came down for Don Lemon and Georgia Ford regarding the Minneapolis church incident. More to come into that, but I would like to start out us with the latest. Let's hear it from the news.
Charles, I know you can outline those statutes now for us.
So one of the interesting things about this, Ariel, is as David was just talking about, the first notion of 18 U.S. Code Section 241, which is the conspiracy against rights, is a requirement that two or more people sort of conspire to inhibit by way of injury, threatening, or intimidation someone in the free exercise or enjoyment of their constitutional or statutory right. So that's one of the charges. Again, I want people to think about the video that was played during the lead-in, where you could actually hear Don Lemon saying, I don't want to intimidate anyone. I'm going around everyone. I want to be respectful. So I just want to point people out with that. And with respect to the FACE Act of 1994, that's an act that was originally designed to keep people from harassing people who were seeking reproductive care outside of women's reproductive facilities from being harassed. And then later on, it was added, or as part of the negotiations of getting it passed, it was added on that you could not inhibit people from being in places of worship. Again, you're talking about physical obstruction. And I want, again, to draw viewers' attention to the video where we saw Don Lemon saying, I'm going around, I'm making sure that I'm not in anyone's way. Where I'm going with this, where you add in the fact that you had two different attempts to try and get a magistrate judge sign off an arrest warrant, and then you ultimately had to put this in front of a grand jury, which is a secret proceeding controlled by prosecutors. We all know that. Is that ultimately here, I can't help but to conclude that the punishment is actually the process. I think that the DOJ knows that this is a trash case. This is not a case that they are expecting ultimately to get a conviction on, but the embarrassment or the attempt to embarrass, the attempt to defame, and the attempt to intimidate the press is really what's driving this prosecution.
There may be people out there who say Don Lemon's actions were imprudent, that he was agitating, and may have known about the fact that these protesters were going to waltz into a religious establishment. But even so, that doesn't meet the mark. Right?
No, it does not, because you still have freedom of the press, and he is there as a member of the press covering what is going on. So long as he is not participating in that intimidation or that physical obstruction or any of the other sort of elements of those statutes, he, as a member of the press, has a right to be there and cover what is going on. Now, the protesters, the agitators, that is a different conversation, but it is important to separate what he did in that moment because it is protected under the Constitution.
As a former federal prosecutor, would you have taken up this case?
I wouldn't. I would have listened to the 5 federal judges who've said that there's no probable cause for this case. So first, the Justice Department went to a federal magistrate judge in Minneapolis. That judge found no probable cause. The Department of Justice appealed an extraordinary proceeding. They tried to force the magistrate judge to find probable cause out of nothing. The Court of Appeals, those 3 judges, they said there's no probable cause. The senior district judge in Minneapolis, in an extraordinary move, actually wrote a letter to the Court of Appeals saying that there was no evidence that Don Lemon had committed any crime and that this was a frivolous move by the Department of Justice.
So to that end, Carol, I know you have reporting that there were prosecutors who did not want to bring these charges in the first place.
That's right. There were, as you know, from the coverage we've been doing at MS Now, there were prosecutors who resisted this idea when it was first brought last week. And as Paul was mentioning, a magistrate judge rejected it for lack of probable cause, and we reported that at the time. It's very unusual for a magistrate judge to shoot something down like this because the probable cause standard is so low. And now, again, this morning, we heard and confirmed with two sources that prosecutors in Minnesota and in Los Angeles, career ones, were saying this charge, 241 and 248, don't match up with the facts with regard to Lemon and some of the other people who entered the church. The most important thing to remember is that threat of force or use of force is a key part of one of these statutes. And as Paul mentioned and others on the panel, you really don't see in this video evidence of force or threat.
David Drucker, well, first of all, Carol Lennig, thank you so much for your reporting. David Drucker, Lemon's attorney is insisting that Lemon was engaging in constitutionally protected activities as a journalist. What does the video show you?
Well, the video doesn't show us anything out of the ordinary. Look, I'm a campaign reporter, and I often find myself reporting on campaign events or talking to voters where I have to sort of contemplate how intrusive I'm being. This is not quite an apples to apples comparison. But the point is, as journalists in the field, we're constantly, trying to take into account how respectful do I need to be versus trying to get information. If I'm covering a protest, which I've done before, how are the police or how are law enforcement functioning? How am I positioning myself? And what we saw in the video doesn't appear to be anything out of the ordinary for what a lot of us have done in the field over the years. Now, look, I'll stress here.
I'm a pause it. Let's hear from the team. Welcome, team. We have on the panel tonight, we definitely have me as the host, August. We also have Maureen. We have Momo, Andrea, Keisha, Anitra, and Roseanne. Welcome, panel. Let's talk.
What good is it to have be a federal judge, to be a judge, to do any of these things if, in fact, we're not going to follow them? We have two rules of law in this country. We are allowing it to be weaponized. We cannot get that back, and it's not okay. If he can do it, we can do it. And I'm sick of the double standard. It's really starting to piss me off. And what they're doing is wrong and illegal, and they're going to have to pay for it.
Anyone else?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the whole case is baseless, which is why they had they could never find a judge to sign off on a warrant. They said that they didn't even have probable cause. I equate it to something that I heard earlier today on a podcast. It would be as if you were to arrest the photographer who was at the Edmund Pettus Bridge taking the pictures of what was going on there, and you would arrest them and say that they were part of the protest or complicit in the protest. That's how baseless this is. It's a silly thing. When you put it in that context, then you can actually see how silly it would be.
I agree. I agree with you, Momo. This whole thing was just another distraction from Epstein. And if you look at the timing of it all, they released the Epstein files just before midnight last night, and boom, there goes Don, and they go right for him. And that was just a major distraction. So it is baseless. You're absolutely correct. You and Anitra, absolutely correct.
Yeah, it is baseless. I agree with all of you ladies. But it's good to see that Don persevered like we knew he would.
Yeah.
Well, we're not there yet. We're building and showing everybody what happened throughout the day. So let's just finish up with this film, and then we will come back.
I'd like to see, the full charges and have all of the details before I make any determination as to whether they're warranted. But I think, politically, part of the problem for the Trump administration or for the Department of Justice under the Trump administration is that they don't have a lot of credibility the way a Department of Justice normally does, right? Charges like this whatever we think of them on their face brought 10 years ago, 20 years ago. And I think a lot of people would be saying to themselves, well, it's a journalist, so I'm a little uncomfortable. But, the DOJ is professional. They don't do things unless they've crossed all, dotted all their I's and crossed all their T's. And what we've seen from this Justice Department and its top officials is compliance with whatever President Trump wants them to do in terms of going after his political adversaries, people he has deemed political enemies, bringing lawsuits that career officials would never bring, bringing indictments, I should say, that career officials would never bring. And so right off the bat, you're thinking to yourself, this looks like a case of the president potentially personally directing the Department of Justice to take action, or top officials, Attorney General Pam Bondi, taking action that she believes will please the president. And that's in many ways the whole basis of this conversation.
So I want to play really quickly Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche talking about Don Lemon today, and then April, I'll get your reaction on the other side.
Do I have a reaction to it? I don't know what that means. What are you looking for me to do? Jump up and down? No, I don't have a reaction to it. I don't know that the charges are unsealed yet. So no, I can't. I'm not going to comment on that.
April, as a journalist yourself, first respond to what you just heard and how a case like this, what it means for journalists. How does it impact our work?
This sets a precedent. And we have to remember that this is not the first time that Donald Trump or his administration has tried to go after journalists. They went after Jim Acosta before, took his press badge, and he won through the courts his press badge back. Donald Trump didn't like Don Lemon in the first term. And the second term is no different. Don Lemon is doing what journalists do. He was not an activist. The person in that video right now that you're showing that he is interviewing was the activist. And he was chronicling what was happening as they walked into the church looking for someone, a pastor who was a part of ICE, who was a head in ICE in that region. So at the end of the day, Don was doing a story, following a story. He was not the activist that let in. Now, what they're trying to do is place activists on a reporter. And that is a pejorative in their mind, and that's also dangerous. They're saying that he, well, not Blanche, but according to the reports from the MS Now reporter from DHS, it's these obstruction of rights. Did the activists obstruct rights and Don just followed in? This sets a precedent for how we cover our news. Don, Georgia Ford, as well as I saw a report yesterday that the Associated Press, they were not allowed necessarily to do they weren't allowed to do a report because ICE told them in Minnesota, move away, you'll be arrested. They do not want these activities covered. They do not want the nation to see. And they're trying to scare us. They're trying to use Don and Georgia Ford as an example. But I'm going to say this revolution that they have right now in Minnesota and wherever else, it will be televised because many of us are in Minnesota. Many of us are in other places using our First Amendment right. And someone who's supporting this First Amendment happens to be the mayor of Los Angeles, where Don Lemon was arrested. She spoke to me this morning. Karen Bass said that she is going to go see him after he gets out of court to make sure he's safe and he's able to be released. She says this is an affront to First Amendment rights as well. Freedom of the press. Freedom of the press. And you have to remember this, Ariel, when the checks and balances don't check and balance out, the press is supposed to have that other layer of accountability. And this is an attempt to intimidate the press from not reporting the truth, the revolution that's happening in Minnesota.
All right, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you for that. Let's go back to the panel. Panel, talk to me.
When things like this happen, once I process the thing that's happening, I tend to look at things in like a long-term perspective, and I immediately thought, this is part of the story of how we win, because there are all these little things, not little things, there are all these flashbang moments that happen where people get more angry, they get more energized, they get more activated. And we had all the things that happened last year, which, I mean, it's hard to even remember because January has been like 4 months in one. But in this month, we had Keith Porter die. We had, or be murdered. We had Renee Good be murdered. We had Alex Preddy be murdered. And now we have a journalist being arrested. These are all things that get people activated. So we get to the end goal of defeating fascism. So I knew that Don was going to be okay. And I know that he's going to be okay because he's loved, he's supported, he's got so many resources. This is just something that he's going to have to go through, unfortunately, but he's going to go down in history as part of this battle. And all they did is make him more popular. Like, they chose the wrong person. For us, it's the right person, but they chose the wrong person to battle with because he's going to win this.
Yeah. Here. Yes, Keisha. Yeah. Agree.
With Keisha saying that, I just want to bring to the floor. Please remember how you can help. There is a organization, defiance.org/reporters. You can support by giving money for all their legal. Someone has their mic open for all their legal filing and so to help out because Don might have the resources, but I'm pretty sure Georgia Fort will need help. And there are two other individuals. One is running for a position in an office in Congress that will need help as well. So please keep them in mind. It's defiance.org/reports. You can give. And also, that is by Miles Taylor. He has that out there. Currently, they have raised $30K, but you know, these type of things really cost money. And if MAGA is going to put up money, you might as well as well. $5. I mean, $5. That's coffee. All right. So please keep that in mind. Another thing I want to let you know how you can help. Call your representative. Get on the phone and call your representative. Find out what your representative is doing. Right now, Congress is busy. They're trying to, stalemate and try to separate out some of these legal articles that they have coming with the bill. But also, just call your representative out there. So, team, you have heard. I have others that you can hear from, but I would like to hear from you.
Well, I called Newsom today, his office. I had to leave a recording, but that's what I did. And they say they record everything and listen to it. So I haven't called a congressman or rep, but I will. Someone rang my doorbell. Yeah, that's important, I think, and to keep calling. I'll keep calling him.
Sounds good. Anyone else?
I was on the phone at 5:30 Pacific time calling Kevin Kiley. I left a message, of course, he's never there. And then I also called friends of the show, which is Ro Khanna and Robert Garcia. And I left messages with them. And I did not make it to call Adam Schiff or Alex Padilla today, but I kind of hit the ones that, especially for Khanna and Garcia, because they both have been on Don's show. So I wanted them to know, as a legend, how I felt and what can they do. So
thank you, Legend. Thank you for doing that. I too have made phone calls from the numbers that were provided and also the numbers that we know. We have to do it. I mean, if you care, that's one way you can help. Anyone else want to add to this conversation?
Yeah, one thing I'm noticing is that it seems like one of MAGA's messaging points is that this is somehow a crusade against Christianity. It seems like that's one of the talking points they've been given. I'm not sure if this is like a bot farm that is promoting this message on social media, but you'll see something like, oh, Don Lemon wouldn't have done this if this was a mosque. This is not about Christianity. And that is ridiculous argument. This is about the First Amendment and the freedom to protest and the freedom of the press. So if you see it, that's the angle they're trying to go with. Just know that it's bullshit. This is not about some cabal that's trying to bring down Christianity. I swear to God, like, Christianity is the dominant religion in this country. Like, stop playing fucking victim. No one's going after Christianity.
At least
And
not for Christianity. Sorry, go ahead.
As far as the resolution to this whole situation, I'm not going to pretend to know it. But one thing I do know is that this speak of bipartisanship, screw bipartisanship. We passed that. We can't do this old rhetoric. It's got to be something different. I don't know who's answering the who, but they're going to have to come with some fire and some results. Because what we're doing now, I understand they're working, but they're going to have to work harder because we're losing our democracy in the middle of all this. And I do feel like we're still in the game, but it's time to change the game, because what we're doing, when it's not working, you got to put a spin on it. You're going to put a spin on that ball, it's going to land in the same spot.
Well, with that said, I'm going to play another video for you. Let's see.
From a source on Don Lemon. It is still under seal. It's interesting, though. They're talking about Don Lemon being a part of in a conspiracy, that he met with the other defendants and that they were planning. They met at a shopping center for a pre-op briefing. It gets into quite a bit of detail in here, and it uses a lot of information from Don Lemon's live stream on his YouTube channel from before they got to the church. They say that he was gearing up for a resistance he was with an organization that was gearing up for a resistance operation against the federal government's immigration policies, and that he took steps to maintain operational secrecy by reminding certain co-conspirators not to disclose the target of the operation. Let's bring in the host of The Beat and MS Now chief legal correspondent, Ari Melber. Ari, I know we got you the indictment. What stands out to you?
Well, this indictment, among other things, attempts to criminalize reporting, criminalize asking questions, criminalize what is widely understood as journalism, even though there's robust debate about exactly where those lines were. And your coverage earlier today was discussing that with some of your guests. So jumping right into it, on page 11, the Justice Department under Donald Trump is claiming that one of the overt acts in furtherance of a conspiracy or crime, so that this is an element of the crime, is that, quote, Don Lemon peppered the pastor with questions, quote unquote. I practice First Amendment law. As you know, we cover a lot of stories here, and I cover law here. I've never seen anything like this in the modern time. I mean, this is outrageous, baseless on the Lemon front. I'll mention that it is part of a wider indictment. So there are 9 defendants named here together, and some of them are redacted as mentioned, some of them are not. Lemon is one of them. So what they're doing is trying to take a wider case that is basically about storming this area where random citizens or people could have criminal or legal liability, and we've covered why. But they've added longtime journalists into this, and they're not hiding the ball, Katie. They're admitting that they want to criminalize asking questions. If you wanted this case to win in the long run in court in front of a jury, you might try to make a more narrow argument. They're not looking to make, from what I can tell, having just read this, legal, valid arguments that might win in the long run. The country can be unnoticed. Asking questions is one of the things that they say is a crime, Katie, or if I should say an element of a crime.
There's also this, and
all right, let's take a break from it. Let's go back to the panel.
They know that the case is baseless. The procedure is the punishment. The process is the punishment. They know that this case is not going to go anywhere, but putting him through it is the point. It's all performative. That's why they've done it the way that they've done it. And also too, to change the narrative of what's going on in Minneapolis. For what, 3 weeks now, beginning with Renee Good and then with Alex Preddy, the face of what's been happening in Minneapolis has been white. They needed to change that so that the face of what's going on in Minneapolis right now is black or brown, because they know that collectively society is not going to care as much if what's going on, the injustice is happening to black or brown people. They needed to try to switch the face of what's going on now because it's too embarrassing and too hurtful to them. So they have to try to switch up the narrative.
It's a parade of distractions, as you said, in the Trump-Stein administration. It's all about, like she said, chaos, and you can't remember this. And so we have to keep bringing it back to Epstein, to all the stuff he's doing in the White House and stealing in the $10 billion lawsuit against us and picking up Don. There's a certain thing we charge inmates in this country with militia, prosecution, or tort claims. They have to have a real case, and if they don't, then they get in trouble for clogging up the system with bull crap. He clogging up the system with bull crap. There's other cases that are more important. If Lady Liberty is blind, then she needs to be blind. And if she's not, then we need to change some things and say the truth because it's not going the way it's supposed to. The Constitution is being attacked and we are in trouble, in a crisis. Not going toward it, we're in it. I know that was a lot, but yeah, I got a lot of ADD.
It's okay. Andrea?
Yes, August. I have too much to say. I'm just listening right now.
You okay?
Understand. We understand. It's been a heavy day.
It has been.
So that was Katie Tur. That was her show. Katie Tur is married to Tony DeCopel. Tony DeCopel is the new anchor of CBS Evening News. And we now know that CBS News is run by Barry Weiss, and it is owned by Paramount Plus, which is owned by David Ellison, who is the Nepo baby of Larry Ellison, who's a big Trump supporter. I wonder what Katie Tur goes home and says to Tony DeCopel when they're in bed tonight about his boss and his boss's boss. Because if Larry Ellison is buddy with Donald Trump, and Donald Trump is arresting journalists, and Tony DeCopel and Katie Tur are journalists,
and he hates Katie Tur.
It's a very complex situation. I just want to know what goes on when they're having their
It's kind of like Kellyanne Conway and her husband. You see how that ended. I'm just gonna leave that alone.
Yeah. And Katie's interested in this.
It's disgusting a little bit though, because I thought, how's that gonna work? How are they gonna? And he even told him, you wouldn't be making as much, and you only got this job. If I would have been president, you probably wouldn't have it. And he said, I probably would have it. He told Trump. Trump said, oh, you wouldn't be making as much money if you did. Hey, hell are you supposed to be? It's a crazy, upside down, bizarro world we are living in, and I just don't get it. But I do see people changing. Some people are getting nicer, and some people are getting emboldened by this. They're gonna mess around. Y'all need to remember my face because I'm not the one.
I honestly believe that today was a huge turning point in our country. I know for myself, I am mad as hell. And our First Amendment rights were flushed down the toilet when they took him in at midnight. And I'm personally, I don't want to stand for that. I want freedom of the press because, as Keisha just said, follow that rabbit hole of CBS because it's a nasty rabbit hole now. So I think a lot of people are finally and hopefully are finally going to see exactly. It may take a little more time, but I honestly think that people are seeing now what's happening here.
Corrosion. A little bit of corrosion goes a long way. I'm all down for the corrosion.
Article 2, Section 4 gets rid of him and his whole cabinet. They're all corrupt. They've all been corrupt. This is not new. They act as if Black people just right now started speaking up. We've been speaking up, and they finally hear us because white people are dead now. Now I want to know when they're going to get out in the street.
We living in a time when people are afraid that they're going to lose something major, a job, a relationship of some sort, and I think they're reluctant to talk about it. The other part, they steady just living their life and not paying attention, thinking it's going to go away. It's not affecting them because they don't watch the news. So I think but like you said, like Roseanne said, I think today is going to give an uptick. Like I said, pain is a motivator. So is pissed. Pissed and pain. Either way, it'll get you moving. So either way, we'll take them. But what was I trying to say? But we definitely had a severe corrosion, and it's corroded. There's no rule of law. So I don't know where we go from here. But we got to go somewhere, and we better do it quick.
If I can bring up something Don Lemon said about a movie to watch, Network, and that's where that it is said, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take it anymore. So it's a heavy movie, but it probably is worthwhile to watch it sometime.
Yeah, sometimes a house has to be taken back down to the studs and rebuilt.
Donald Trump is not worth losing your soul over, and these people losing their soul over this pedo
and trying to kill the soul of our nation.
Well, I hope this video can play for you. This is what happens when
Can everybody hear me? Are you guys set? Everybody ready? So look, I want to thank everybody for the support. It truly means the world to me. I have no idea what's going on because obviously I haven't seen anything. I have spent my entire career covering the news. I will not stop now. In fact, there is no more important time than right now, this very moment, for a free and independent media that shines a light on the truth and holds those in power accountable. Again, I will not stop now. I will not stop ever. Last night, the DOJ sent a team of federal agents to arrest me in the middle of the night for something that I've been doing for the last 30 years, and that is covering the news. The First Amendment of the Constitution protects that work for me and for countless of other journalists who do what I do. I stand with all of them, and I will not be silent. I look forward to my day in court. Thank you all.
Hey, whoa. Jesus Christ.
What say you, panel? We stand with Don Lemon.
That was perfect.
I stand.
Yep.
That was the lemon drop.
Yep. A big one, Andrea.
Yep. 10 toes down, all the way with Don.
Yep. Yep. Ride or die.
Ride or die. Yep.
I said this in the chat, but I thought it was funny how he started with, "Can you guys hear me? Are y'all ready?"
Yeah.
Working.
Yep. He's a hoot.
And he's a professional. Like, this is what he does for a living. He's been doing it for 30 years, like he said. Like, you can tell People can learn from him. Like maybe some of y'all should sit down and learn from Don.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, 30 years under your belt. He is not feckless. He is not doing this for show. How could you not know that this is not a true reporter? Like, cut the BS. It was never about Don Lemon. It's about putting propaganda out there to not talk about the Epstein files, to not talk about him suing, Trump suing the IRS. It's to not talk about the madness that's going on, that he's trying to cheat everybody continuously. It's not about Tulsi Gabbard going down to Georgia to try to appropriate those voting rights. I mean, it's a lot of craps going on, but guess what? We can talk, we can walk, we can chew gum all at the same time. So let's weigh in on the Epstein file. I know a lot of people was trying to see if they could get into the middle of it and see what was going on with the Epstein file. Anybody on the panel, were you able to read it?
Well, I do. You know, I have a lot of respect for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, but I'm disappointed that they didn't speak up then, because we wouldn't be where we are today.
I'm more disappointed in our attorney general. I'll just leave it like that.
And the Supreme Court.
That was his place to do.
It was all of their places, actually. They knew about it.
We just have a nation of pedophile protectors, and I've just decided to just accept that. That's what they do. That's what they've been doing. That's what they're going to do. They protect sex offenders. They protect all the sexy stuff. Then we find out about it years later when people knew about it when it was going on. If you watched it and you knew about it, and at the very least, let's say that's all he did, which we know it's not, you're guilty. So you can kiss my ass.
So I did not read all of the Epstein files that were released. I only saw excerpts. That's really all I can handle, because the excerpts that I saw were disgusting. Like I don't need to read that stuff. The things that Donald Trump is alleged to have done to girls is sick. The man is sick. And he should not be where he is right now. And the number of people who are named in just the excerpts that I saw, and I'm not saying that they did something, but you know, it's kind of like where there's smoke, there's fire. But it goes back to this web of deception. Like Mark Zuckerberg is named, Elon Musk is exchanging emails with Jeffrey Epstein. Do we want to go to Don? I can stop.
Yes, my love. If you don't mind, I just want to give the audience a minute with Don. Okay? Let me see if I can get the volume on. He should be good to go. Here we go. Thank you, Keisha. Come on, play, Don.
He's frozen.
I know. Trying to get him up. Sometimes it's not us, it's Don. So,
well, while that's trying to buffer, I can say I was listening to songs and radio today, and the song came on. We didn't start the fire, and I was listening to it, and we didn't start the fire. It's always been burning since the world's been turning, but they didn't put gasoline on that fire, and it's exploded. And they're steady throwing gasoline on it and fanning the flames instead of trying to put it out. And everybody's trying to act like on the right that they've been trying to put it out the whole time when they steady igniting it. And then you got us and those that are resistant, whether they're on the right, independent, whatever, liberals that are saying things that make sense and are akin to our norms and our folkways and, like I said, mores and the things that we consider to be our core American values. And Anyway,
No, keep talking.
it's just disintegrating, and it's so it's just. I just don't know how much more people can take. And we just getting started, and that's what I fear. And Project 2025 is full in motion.
Well, just like slavery, if we would have fought sooner, it would have ended sooner.
You know, I always say old people be knowing. And the only job or profession that is protected in the Constitution at a certain age. You know, I always say old people be known.
Went away again.
I think it might be your internet, August, because I have him up on another site and everything is okay.
He via satellite. I'm glad he was not harmed physically anyway. I don't think. I don't know if they made him go through the whole process or not. I hope not. That would have been very degrading. And he's got a lawsuit toward the government because that's a violation, clearly an intentional violation of his civil rights. Remind me of those mock trials they used to always have in the South. And they'd have all these trials, you know, and the jury was all white men, and then you got these people. It was just a farce.
They keep making the mistake of thinking black people don't have no sense.
We're not the same people that we used to be, brown and black people, and it depends. And there's a divide within that group, in the brown and black community, as far as who's going, you know, but for the majority
first,
our interests
we
lie
need to start standing
not
up.
with Donald Trump.
And
he's
I gotta
coming
say
after
that
us, whether
from
we
what
like
I've heard,
him
I
or
haven't had a
not.
chance to see
Nicki
it.
Minaj
I've heard that
buddy
my
up with him
former
if she
colleagues
won't.
at CNN all came out pretty unanimously, pretty strongly to support me. I understand. I believe that CNN released a statement. I've heard that CNN released a statement. Thank you very much. I have no animus for CNN. I have no animus for anyone, but I tell the truth as about what I see. And I think it's time for all journalists to stand up for each other. So I appreciate that. And at CNN, I worked with the best journalists in the world. So I wish them nothing but the best. But I believe those journalists as well need to stand up to the corporation. They need to tell Warner Brothers Discovery, stop playing and get your hands out of the newsroom. CBS needs to tell Paramount and David Ellison and whatever, get out of our newsroom. Get out of our journalism. Barry Weiss, take your hands off of it. Let the journalists be the journalists. All of them. That goes for every single corporate entity that owns a journalistic organization.
It's no sound.
Okay, I thought it was just me this time again.
The sound went?
Uh-huh.
Let me see if I could bring him back in. There you go.
He gave himself what?
Sorry,
an hour?
everybody, we're having a little bit of
He got
technical
released at what?
difficulty.
6:15 Eastern, or yeah, 6:15 Eastern. It's now 8:15. He gave himself 2 hours to prepare for this, like 2 hours to decompress from his experience and prepare for this. Don is a G. I knew that whenever he got out, he was going to be on camera at some point today, talking about his experience. My admiration for that man, it just increased astronomically today.
Yeah, me too. You're right, Keisha. Yep.
He's a true journalist.
He is very professional.
Yeah.
The other thing that I noticed, and I don't know if you guys caught this, but when he does his man on the street stuff, you know, Tim always goes. Tim is usually walking behind him with the kids. Today, Tim took him and led him out and took over and let him start to decompress and just
thank you, Aaron Burnett. Thank you to all of the people over at CNN.
Yeah, I agree. Tim is a ride or die partner, it seems like.
Right.
Well,
He's
like, and thank
obviously
you to
very
the
involved
management
in the
and
business and
you know, who I
supports
worked with
Don,
forever.
like, 100%.
I'm trying to bring him in, but it's
Putting out a statement, and thank you to
He didn't
the
hear.
folks on MSNBC. Thank you to Scott Gall.
It's like he's breaking up. Can you guys hear him?
No.
Well, where he is probably a lot of airplanes.
I mean, I can see it on my TV.
All right.
That is.
When I saw Tim waiting for him and greeting him when he got released, I was like, I need that kind of man in my life.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would have called and said, hey, baby, you cool? All right, then I see you when you get home. All right, then you cool? All right, then bye. Be out there waiting. He had to fly out there, I'm sure.
He's a very compassionate man. If you ever get to meet him, you did, Keisha. He talked to me for a whole hour and wanted to know about me. And I talked to him about my husband. And he was so gracious and caring. I've taken that away from me, with me. And it was at a time I really needed someone to be that way. And see, I'm always ride or die. And now he's even upped it more so. And I love the way he treats us all. We are definitely an elimination family community.
Yep, we are definitely.
And I met Tim at when I went to Don's show at City Winery, and because Tim was working the merch booth, which again, like,
right,
just supporting his partner. And I introduced myself, and later I wanted to ask a question, and I kind of got overlooked by the person that was scanning the audience for questions, and Tim pointed me out and made sure that I got a chance to ask a question. I was like, it's such a great man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right.
So I'm glad that Don has someone like him in his life.
Yeah, absolutely.
We all should have someone like that in our lives. And those that do are extremely, extremely lucky.
Yeah, I was lucky. Yeah.
I am lucky. I am blessed.
Don't happen too often.
No, no, it doesn't.
Yeah.
No, not at all.
Yeah, and just to get back to the seriousness of it all, Don is a trooper. And like my husband said in the chat earlier, they just built different out the South. We are built different out the South. It takes a lot to keep us down, but they are playing a long game with all of this. All of this is meant to help keep them in power because they know that they're going to lose. If we have the turnout at the elections that we could possibly have, they know that they're going to lose. So this is meant to intimidate people from coming out to the polls, to try to make it as difficult as possible for people to vote, because they know we are going to have elections. It's just a matter of whether or not they're going to be free and fair. That is where we have to come out en masse, go to the polling places in groups if you can. If you can, go to a polling place and just help, just be there, to put yourself in between what is possibly going to be an armed militia at different polling places around the way. Put yourself in between those people and the people that are trying to vote. This is the inflection point where you have to ask yourself, what are you willing to do? What are you willing to sacrifice to make sure that we can get on the other side of that? Because the only way we're going to get on the other side of that is if we take them out of power. We have to take the Congress and the Senate back. Otherwise, it's over.
And offer rides to your neighbors. If they need assistance going to the polls, offer, put it out there on your socials and say, hey, I'm taking the day off. Anyone who needs a ride, contact me. Here is my information. Contact me. I will take you, whatever you need. And if possible, Congressman Crockett said this morning that we probably all need to go re-register to vote, because that's another way that they're trying to suppress us, is by taking us off of the voter rolls. So go check, make sure that you are still registered to vote. And if you aren't, re-register. She would not be saying that if she did not know what was going on. And her case was made because she indicated that the whole reason was that why they went into Atlanta was not because of the past. It is to affect the future, which is November. So get out there and re-register and help your neighbors to get to vote.
And the young people, make sure if they're at voting age, make sure you get them, take them by the hand, say, you know what, I need you guys to roll with me real quickly so we can just make sure we are prepared for that. I do have a video that I'm not sure everybody got a chance to see, but this is how last night started for this young lady.
Oh, it was Georgia.
That agents are at my door right now. They're saying that they were able to go before a grand jury sometime, I guess, in the last 24 hours, and that they have a warrant for my arrest. I've talked to my attorney, and I'm being advised to go with them, I guess, down to Whipple. And my children are here.
And then they cut her off because she had to go. So it's serious.
And I heard a little bit longer version of that, and her daughter like cried out in the back, and it broke my heart. It was like a death, when those crying where you don't know if you're gonna see the person again. It was like a death cry. It was a breakdown. I said, they traumatizing these children. They have responsibilities. I don't care who you mad at. You do not get to persecute and prosecute people in the United States because you don't like them. We don't freaking do it, and we're not going to start.
And let me give her props as well. Like you saw Don come out on the steps producing. He can't help but be who he is. That woman was being her own journalist. She was chronicling her own arrest for people's information. So even in that moment that had to be horrific and traumatizing for her, her professionalism as a journalist still came out. I'm telling you, I have so much mad respect for the journalists that are putting themselves out there right now, the independent journalists that are putting themselves out there right now, and everybody who puts themselves in there trying to get the truth to the public. I just have to give them their props. So much respect.
I'm going to give y'all props because y'all here too, because this matters too. We have voices, we're getting it out there, so yay to you.
You super legends.
There go the ice cream.
Is that every day?
Yes. Every show, ice cream. But anyway, guys, I want to call out some of the conversation that's going on in the chat. We always welcome our roving reporters. We do have Jazzy, Angry Army Vet, and our very own Marley that's been in the chat supporting us and giving us love. Um, Jazzy mentioned this, and I want everybody to usually come with the proper things on standing on business. It's only January, and look how chaotic these past 30 days have been. We have 10 months until midterm. This is going to be a very, very chaotic until then. Trust me, I don't see us making a 2-0 midterm. I really don't. Something is definitely in the works and it's going to be detrimental. I'm just calling it out because I don't think we've seen the half of it. But what say you?
He should resign.
He ain't gonna do that. It's like he's too much of a narcissist to do that. He'd be afraid that too much like quitting. But he's a bitch made motherfucker, is what he is. Now I said it.
He
And
keep
I'm
asking
done.
why they come for
Excuse
her.
my language.
Because she was a journalist herself is why they came for her. She was a journalist just like Don Lemon was, is why they came for her.
Well, she was only filming it. She didn't say a word. She was filming.
Well, but they trying to talk as if she said something.
He just wanna it's just a show of power. It's a I'm as a person I know who's always when they get drunk, they get I'm powerful. I'm powerful. You're the weakest link in the room. If I push you with a finger, you'll fall. Because he's a weak, soulless individual. And in my opinion, a demon. And as Miss Marley said, a psychopath.
Oh
my God, yes.
The key to it all, I think, is hopefully in the election, right, November, that we get more Democrats in the Senate and the Congress.
Well, I'm not happy with the Democrats right now either.
Yeah, but I do
Everybody seemed to set back.
But that's where the strength will come at that point in time, because they can impeach. They will have a majority.
You know, they needed to speak out before this. I mean, you know, I want people that's going to represent the people, period.
Well,
you know,
the
and
thing
do
is,
the right thing.
You're talking about the Democrats that are in office now, but there are a lot of Democrats who are up.
And that's the ones I'm talking about, the ones in office right now.
But there are a lot of them who are up for re-election in November, so
That's what I'm saying.
They can go. We can get new ones. And the thing is, like,
now you heard me.
I did hear you, and I agree with you. I am not a Democrat because they piss me off.
Yeah, they sat back and knew this information
But the good thing is there are people who, one, they're disaffected Republicans who are leaving the party, and there are Republicans who are becoming Democrats because they feel like they need to belong to a party, and the Republican Party is no longer the party that represents them. And there will be
more. I want term limits on
SCOTUS.
Supreme Court.
Mm-hmm.
But I think to August's question about the midterms, I think we will have midterms. I don't think that we've seen the worst that's going to happen yet.
No.
I think things are going to get worse, unfortunately, because we have not hit bottom to get the number of people in this country galvanized to the point where there are enough people to fight back to win.
You mean Trump is not the bottom?
Unfortunately not. His policies are, but they've got to be felt.
That's right, James.
Because you still have people who are defending what they're seeing. You still have people who are claiming that Don Lemon stormed the church.
I know. I don't know what they seeing.
He stormed the church like they stormed the Capitol.
Well, we such a Christian nation. Jesus stormed the church, knocked the money off the table, he went in there and threw some stuff around and said, "Hey, what the hell's going on in here?" So they need to keep it real. I'm so sick of people putting that in the guise of Jesus even went in there and did that, and he didn't do nothing nearly like that. And they crucified him, but somebody's got to be. All he's doing is making him a martyr. He's not making him an enemy of the state, and he's making himself look stupid. And this is the thing that I can say it from my generation. Don't play yourself, okay? Perpetrating a fraud, because you get played playing with players. Now I'm done with that. He gonna get played, but right now somebody's gonna have to fight back that is more powerful than me, because the court can say what they want to say. The court's words are trash because nobody's listening. And I'm sorry, court, but fix it, or that's what it is.
The power
It's a
emanates.
suggestion.
The power emanates from the people. The people en masse have to rise up. Then your representatives start to listen to you, and that's when the work
I
gets
don't want
done.
to see have nightmares tonight.
So we're feeling this pain because of U.S. Justice Department releasing more than 3 million pages of Epstein files. Okay, 3 million. I mean, not even an avid reader can get through those Epstein files. And one thing I really want to call out is you see their faces there. These are the culprits, because we know over to this side of the board is Prince. We have Galen, and I'm not too sure who's this gentleman. I don't want to call the wrong name. However, over 3 million pages released from Epstein files. Just so you guys know, the thing that I really want to come down and call out, could you please mute, because there's a lot of feedback. Survivor condemned DOJ's Epstein release as a betrayal. So the survivors they had enough. They just had enough. It's like they're not paying attention to it, and I really wanted you to see their faces right quick. And the reason for that is a number of survivors of the Epstein abuse have released a joint statement condemning the DOJ's latest file release. You put out that much information, it's like water under a bridge. No one's going to read that. It's like overwhelming. Once again, survivors are having their name and identifying information exposed. So they want to put it out there so people can go and challenge them and look for them and intimidate them, while the men who abused us remain hidden and protected. Now, you know that's a mess. You know that. And it goes on to say that they add the Justice Department can not claim to have finished releasing the files until every legally required document is released and every abuse and enabler is fully exposed.
August, they said that they are not, even though there are still millions of more pages, this is it. They're not releasing anything else.
Yeah,
that's it.
That's what I was told.
That's bullshit.
This is, yeah, exactly. It is bullshit because you didn't really do your job. So who's going to hold?
It's contempt of court.
Oh, you took the word out of my mouth. Who's going to hold them in contempt? Who? I just wanted to let you know we can chew gum, we can walk, we can talk, all at the same time. So I wanted to make sure, even though it is a Don Lemon's Day, all of this is going down, and they said flood the zone. Trust me, we are women of power. We know how to multitask and show what you're made of, okay? With that said, Keisha, I see you put something out there. You want to read it, huh?
Yeah, Jazzy said that she wasn't happy with the Dems, and Klobuchar's ad for governor really pissed her off. And I just said that Klobuchar pissed me off because the day that Liam was kidnapped, she posted on social media about being at a hockey game. And I was like, are you fucking serious? Like, do you know, is this a scheduled post because you know what's going on in your city? Like, I get that we have to continue living our lives, but if you're gonna run for governor, read the room.
Mm-hmm. Seem like they all sleepwalking.
I don't know about her. She ain't staying woke.
Well, they didn't want her before, so.
She wishy-washy to me. I'm not playing none of this. I'm just saying, I'm not speaking for the panel, but for Nitra, next elections, any of these primaries or anything, I'm not playing this wishy-washy shit. You either down and you're going to do it, or you're not. If you're trying to ride the fence, then you can go on about your business, because I holler at you, deuces.
We just need to encourage new people to run.
That's a word from Anitra. Andrea, your final word?
We need to encourage new people to run for office.
All right. Roseanne?
Again, all I will say is check your voter registration. Make sure you are registered and keep checking it. Offer rides to your neighbors. Keep speaking out and hang your flag upside down outside. That's what I've done. We are in distress, but don't give up. Do not give up. We are stronger together, no matter what.
You sound like me.
Maureen?
I don't know if I have anything to say that these ladies already haven't said.
And that's fair.
It's been a tough day. I have to say I'm pretty down today. But good show, ladies.
I need at least 30 million people to come out.
That's fair. Mama?
Yeah, just reiterate what everyone is saying. And Roseanne, I started doing this after my husband, I found out before the last general election that somehow he was all of a sudden not registered to vote anymore, and we had to re-register him. And so I check our voter registration status on a monthly basis. Every month I check it to make sure that we're still active. So you have to do that. I don't know if anyone else is like me, but if a Democrat can't wrap their lips around the words, ICE must be destroyed, it cannot be reformed, it cannot be redone in any kind of image, it has to be completely razed to the ground. And of course, we have to have some sort of immigration enforcement. We've had it before, but that agency is corrupt to its core and it needs to be gone. And any Democrat that cannot fix their mouths to say that will not get my support. And so there has to be some hard primaries on some of these corporate Democrats. Yeah. Anybody taking APAC money, you automatically lose me. I don't want to hear from you. I don't want to hear from you. We need good energy. We need AOC energy. We need I can't ever say her name.
Jasmine. We need Jasmine.
Jasmine energy. We've got Mondani, and we have the energy out there. We just need to wrap our arms around these people and support them because they are all about the people. And I think that their message could reach across party lines. It's not about party effort.
If they're not doing their job, they gotta go.
Yeah.
I licked my tongue out because I'm jealous that Mondami's not my mayor.
Yeah.
So it's not hating on him, it's just hating on Keisha now. Hating on Keisha. Ain't nobody got time for that. I'm jealous. I'm in the red belt. I'm in the red state. Help me. Help me.
I will say he is one element of all of this that gives me hope. And I think that that's true for a lot of people in this country who think of Mondani as their mayor, even though they don't live in New York City. Maybe we all have someone who wants to be a transformative politician.
I have added.
You need to hire me to walk around and tell people, ask people, what you looking at? I just want to be the what you looking at person. Boo, gone. I'm here for you, Mon Diamond.
We're a button that says it.
August, can I add one more thing?
Absolutely, before we go.
So y'all know I do the woo woo. I listen to psychics and astrologers and all that. There is a medium named Lisa Vest, who's a Native American spiritualist that I follow, and she talks about politics. And she said, they want us to feel hopeless, angry, fearful, and depressed. But anything we can do to resist that makes it harder for us to be overcome.
I don't know how to feel like that.
It's a process.
I'm too
Did
crazy.
she happen to say when we might be having and drinking champagne?
Yeah, the good part. The good part.
I want to be like, you'll never find.
She has not, and honestly, I've seen a lot of them have been more quiet about saying when, either because they can't see it or because they feel like they have to be careful.
Yeah.
Like even the people who like you
Nostradamus said it. It's good enough.
They're worried about government.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
With that said, even though we're about to close, I just want to reiterate, please.
Where's the August on the move? I'm tired of not having August on the move.
With that said, I would like to close out with us. Remember, please support defiance.org/reporters. We have reporters out there that need your support. $5 will do it. We really, really need you to do so.
I gave a donation today already.
Thank you for that donation. Also, that is from the Miles Taylor Found. He's the one that's putting it together. Just give him props because he's looking out for all the reporters. Also, I'm going to close with, it has been a rough week. It has already been a rough month. 3 weeks in, and we have 2 killings, really 32 killings, but we don't know their names. It has been an indictment on Don. If you tell me that you don't think they're coming for you, you better wake up. It's time. It is time. Stay empowered. Stay strong. And stay with us. Please like and subscribe. Please make sure you get out there, and we really appreciate all your comments. And when I say get out there, look out for your neighbors. Ask your neighbor, are they registered? See if you can help them out, as Roseanne keep reiterating. I'm going to close this show out. I thank you. We really love you. Everybody, just say goodbye.
Bye.
We the people unite.